Tragically, anti-Semitism is on the rise in the United States. It is outrageous, it is wrong, and we cannot and we must not tolerate it. We saw it when white supremacists marched in Charlottesville with swastikas, yelling blood and soil. We saw it when a man walked into the Tree of Life Synagogue and killed congregants in their house of worship. We see it when synagogues are threatened and vandalized, and we see it when Trump administration officials support far-right Holocaust deniers. Anti-Semitism is a threat to our most basic freedom in the United States, the freedom to pursue faith without fear. But rather than seriously address anti-Semitism and protect Jewish student safety, this administration is cutting funding for the Office of Civil Rights. And Trump is cynically using the rise in anti-Semitism as a tool to restrict freedom, stroke fear, and silence dissent. And it is as terrifying as it is evil. Under the guise of combating anti-Semitism, this administration cut off $400 million in funding for Columbia University, funding that, amongst other things, supports critical Alzheimer's and cancer research. We can't have cutoffs in Alzheimer's and cancer research in America. This month, ICE officers arrested students in Columbia and Georgetown and elsewhere lawfully here in the United States, but haven't charged them with a single crime. We're the United States of America. It's 2025. You need evidence. You need a crime. You have to say what it is. And on Tuesday, masked ICE officers grabbed Rumesa Ozturk, a PhD student at Tufts University, off the street as she was on her way to break fast for Ramadan. She has not been charged with a single crime. As far as I understand it, the Trump administration arrested these students because they engaged in the freedom of expression that is explicitly protected under the Constitution of the United States. What these individuals said or believed is besides the point. What matters is that we have a president arresting people because he disagrees with their constitutionally protected right to freedom of expression. And that imperils the basic democratic principles upon which all of our freedoms relies. When the government of the United States is sending mass police to grab students off the streets and from their homes, holding federal dollars or threat of investigation as blackmail to force institutions into silence and routinely violating the Constitution, the laws passed by the United States in order to do what he wishes while using the Jewish people and others as a shield for its transgressions, we have crossed a dangerous, dangerous threshold from which we cannot return unless we call it out for what it is, authoritarianism. We have a very serious anti-Semitism problem in the United States of America. It is a problem that deserves a real and a forceful response. But the answer to anti-Semitism will never be authoritarianism. We cannot guarantee freedom if we let Trump march in and steal freedom while we remain silent. So, Rabbi Saperstein, in your testimony, you state, quote, anti-Semitism, the hatred of Jews as Jews thrives in an authoritarian environment where civil liberties are curtailed, not in spaces of robust, protected, democratic discourse. So please expand on how Trump administration's authoritarian actions are a threat to the safety of the Jewish community and the role that Congress should play in response to it.
You know, I said before that the Jewish community in America has thrived to enjoying more rights, more freedoms, more opportunities than anywhere else. There are a number of reasons for that. One is the rule of law, for which is at the core of our democratic system, our constitutional system. A second was the separation of government and religion. Here, that government would not interfere with religion. It'd be a wall keeping government out of religion. This was the first country in the history of the world in which we said, your rights as a citizen will not depend upon your religious identity, your religious beliefs, or your religious peaceful practices, which is a standard in my work as U.S. Ambassador for Religious Freedom. I try to hold every other country accountable to its embodying in the international human rights covenants. Here, we have always thrived better in open, pluralistic countries than we have in dogmatic and authoritarian countries. We are always the other in those authoritarian countries. And the reason we have thrived here has been the opportunities that higher education has given us, that the public schools brought us up through for generations in this country here, and the attacks on each one of those that we're seeing, on higher education, on cutting back, even restricting funds, the public schools in terms of the attacks on the rule of law, on judges, the judicial system, ignoring judicial decisions that are being made. All of this undercuts the safety of not just Jews, but everyone who is a victim of discrimination in this country.
Anti-Semitism is the problem. Authoritarianism is not the answer.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for calling this important hearing. Thanks to our witnesses for being here. Mr. Stern, if I could just start with you.